Houston Station, Space Ground 2 for robotics.
Go ahead on Space Ground 2.
Hal, I think we're done with the big arm for the docked ops. We'd just like to thank Sarmat and his team and our trainers for the great job. We enjoyed it. Tim especially enjoyed this last one. And we'll see you guys back on the ground in a few days.
Hey, guys, great job. Doug, Julie, Tim, Koichi, couldn't have done it better. We're real proud.
Thanks a lot, Hal.
Well, hello, everyone. It's Bill Harwood, CBS News, and I'll start with Commander Polanski. Mark, you said before launch this was going to be an extremely challenging mission, and it has certainly proven to be that. What's your assessment of the flight to this point, and how confident are you that Tom and Chris can get everything done during EVA 5? Thanks.
Hey, Bill, how's it going? Your first question, my answer would be we have the Jeff installed and activated. We had taken the logistics element and attached it and transferred the payload using the Japanese arm, and the jelly is back in the payload bay. We have all 6 batteries that were for P6 now swapped out, as well as 3 large replacement units, spares for ISS that are in place, and that carrier is back safely in the payload bay. We've completed all of the robotics, which used all 3 arms during this mission. We've transferred a whole lot of things, and we've even managed to have dinner a couple of nights with our wonderful hosts here. So all in all, I think it's an extremely successful mission in spite of a lot of really interesting curveballs that have been thrown our way. Regarding EVA 5, what I'll tell you is that I have all the confidence in the world in the EVA team and all the folks back in Houston and everywhere else that have planned what we're going to do tomorrow. But I think we're all keenly aware that EVAs carry some risk to them, and so we're going to be very, very deliberate and careful about the last EVA, because in my book, the last one you do is always the one that you have to watch out for the most. So EVA 5 should be our final one, and we're hoping it's going to go well.
Hi, this is Robert Perlman with CollectSpace.com, and I'll throw this out to anyone who wants to take it. We've seen that you had a moon rock up there to mark this past week's 40th anniversary of Apollo 11, but have any of you had a chance to see the moon out the window? And if you remember watching the moonwalk in 1969, can you share what being in space during this anniversary has personally meant to you?
Well, I'll take that, Robert. Yeah, we get some spectacular views of the moon up here, and in particular, watching the moon set when it's full down through the Earth horizon. It's just incredibly beautiful. And just seeing that when you're sitting in a dark module alone is just an incredible thing. And that certainly accentuates the idea that we've landed on the moon 40 years ago. And, I think we all see this as a big milestone. It was a very special thing to have the moon rock up here during this time. And, of course, we celebrated that day with another very successful spacewalk out here. So I think we're going in the right direction since the moon landing. We'd all like to be going a little bit faster, but we're very happy with the progress we've made there, and we're very hopeful for the future.
Good afternoon. This is Eric Berger with the Houston Chronicle. It's for a question for Chris Cassie or Tom Marshburn. For those of us who have never been in space, maybe you can talk a little bit about what it's like to actually take a spacewalk and work in space. Is it more difficult than you expected? And kind of talk about some of the big challenges.
Well, thanks for the question, Eric. I found it unbelievably challenging and exciting and exhilarating all at the same time. My diving background, I experienced black beneath ships in ports and harbors around the world at night under a ship. I thought that was dark until I got up here and looked out through my visor at the darkness of space, and that's as black as you can get. And then with that in the back of your mind, as you know, you're embarking on taking on some challenging tasks that are essential to the completion of the space station. It all couples for, just like I said, just a thrilling, challenging, and exhilarating experience. I absolutely loved it.
Gina Sunseri, ABC News for pilot Doug Hurley. Doug, what's been the highlight for you so far, and how much are you looking forward to the fly around?
Gina, I don't know if I have a specific highlight. It's all been one big highlight, I think. Just getting everybody to choreograph the robotics with all the EVAs, I think, and then seeing it done pretty successfully has been probably my biggest highlight. And of course, for every pilot to get to do to get to fly the space shuttle and get to do the big fly around and see the space station almost complete, and then kind of see the fruits of our labors here over the last 10 days is going to be obviously a big thrill.
This is Jill Tolk representing the Statesville Record and Landmark in North Carolina. Question for Tom Marshburn ties in with Mike Barrett's comments just now. Tom, by a great coincidence, you performed your first VBA on the 40th anniversary of Apollo 11. What special thoughts and feelings do you have about that and your overall space flight experience that you'd like to share with everyone in Statesville?
Well, I remember very well watching the moonwalk when I was 9 years old, so there was a great feeling of completion in a sense that was inspired by the great space explorers before me. The work we're able to do up here, the very complex work here, is mostly because we were standing on the shoulders of those giants that came before us. So that was a wonderful feeling for me. And for everyone back in Statesville, space is a great place to be. The spacewalks were incredible in the sense that the work was exhilarating, the views were incredible, and the feeling that you get from working with a team, sitting on the end of an arm, or working with the robotics operators and the rest of the team is just unforgettable. I'm looking forward to getting to Statesville and talking about it.
Higashiyama from the Asahi, and you communicated a lot with the Tsukuba's controlling center, and I think that ability of the control center got very increased. But what did you think about the control center's ability? Not only the Tsukuba control room, but the other control rooms were very efficient, and there were a lot of chances to communicate with Tsukuba, but their follow-up to the small trouble was very good, and and their support was very good. Making the hardware is one thing, but the operation of the hardware, of the operation of the ISS is something else, and I think that is more difficult. So since the assembly of Kibo started for 1 year, we were having a very good operation over here with a smooth operation. That is owing to the Tsukuba's controlling room, and we have a mutual trust.
Hi, this is Irene Klotz with Reuters. My question's for Dave Wolf. It was a really impressive sight when the TV cameras came on to see 13 people there, and you're kind of senior astronaut. I'm wondering if you might talk a little bit about the group dynamics and how this is very different from your previous space flights. Thanks.
It's really fascinating to be here. I'm looking down a corridor, maybe 60, 80 feet, through several modules into a Russian segment. To my left is a European segment. To my right is a Japanese segment, a U.S. space shuttle behind me. And as you go through here, you hear different languages, you hear different music. It's like going around the world within the spacecraft as it goes around. There's even the equipment is made out of different materials. There's kind of different odors and feelings as you go around. So we've put together a vehicle that is truly international and brought together a truly international crew representing the whole world. And now we're undertaking perhaps one of the most spectacular engineering achievements that humans have ever conducted. And so it's just fabulous in many dimensions.
Thanks, Dave. My next question is for Bob Thirsk. As you know, there's quite an issue in the United States with the gap coming up after shuttle retirement. And your country and also Japan, of course, up there have been dependent on other people for rides to space since the get-go. I'm just wondering if you might address what are some of the issues about being dependent on somebody to drive you and take you home.